Hello, Taurus. How's everybody doing today? I hope that you're all doing well, and I'm really looking forward to sharing the messages that came through today for your sign. Apollo wanted to say a little hello here, and I'm going to put him down so he can get back to his sleeping. But let me introduce myself first. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and we're going to be looking at the sign of Taurus for the month of February. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how this is organized. I'm really glad to see everybody today. I hope you stick around today. I have a meditation at the end. We're going to do a little bit of a prayer for world peace and also just to kind of help everybody. But we're focusing on Taurus first. And the way that I organize the reading today is in about 4 major parts. I like to start with the channeled messages in front of me. And the way that I arrive at those is I combine dream messages. I kind of set my intention the night before to receive messages for your sign. I get up early and meditate. I do automatic writing, and then I combine all of these things for you. And that's the first part. It's just me working with my guides and sharing that information. The next part is when I work with the cards that I've chosen for you today, and we'll look at high points, we'll look at challenges, and navigate all of the little opportunities in between. And after that, we'll go a little bit deeper and expand it into health, wealth, love, and destiny, which is aptly named the expanded forecast. That way, whatever wants to come through at the center will. And then like I said, I make sure I hit on those areas that you enjoy. Once we get through all of that, I'll do a mini review. And then the third part of this is what I call the soul path. And in the soul path, there will be a few things that naturally come up over the course of this reading where maybe there's some more clarity that's necessary, or there's a big opportunity for growth. And I'll use that portion to dig a little deeper, usually looking at the past, present, and future influences. And I usually will use one of those cards as a wild card, just in case we missed anything, or there's like one last message from the universe. And then after that, we will meditate. And today, again, we're going to try to do a little bit of healing and clearing of the heavy energy that we've all been going through over the past few days. So no matter when you watch this, it'll be good, but we're especially in need of that today. So do stick around for that if you can. With that being said, I'd like to get straight into this, but one last note, just to kind of tell you how I work with Super Chat. If you enjoy what you're seeing here, all of the supplies that you see, all the cards, it's all stuff that I purchased, but it's with your help that I'm able to continue to update it. So if you'd like to see me use some new cards or just say thank you for the time that I'm spending here, you can use this little icon, which is next to the emojis here, and send a positive message or a super sticker. And then on the replay, there's also a chance to use the applaud button right here. And it's right by the thumbs up, thumbs down button. So that's another way to give back if you're watching this later. I'll talk about other ways that you can participate and connect with me, but I'll do that at the end. Right now, I'd like to get started. Thanks again, by the way, to my moderators, Maria and Dakota, for helping out today. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's get into the first thing that came to me, actually, as I was getting ready for your reading. I had the image of a magnolia pop into my head, probably one of my favorite flowering trees. When there are certain streets out here that actually have this in California, but on the East Coast, I remember the magnolias as well. And beautiful blossoms. They're really large too. It's like the size of your hand. Very fragrant and surprisingly strong. And we're going to talk about how that's going to be a part of the message for you. There's different types of magnolias, by the way, including some of these pink varieties that are, I think, in Asia. Just a beautiful tree, beautiful flower. And when I was doing a little bit of research on Wikipedia and the internet, I was interested to find out that the magnolia tree is really, really old. It's one of the older varieties, and the blossom itself is kind of like they're not really even petals. They're kind of like modified leaves. And I guess it evolved to attract beetles to basically pollinate it. So these beautiful petals, which aren't really petals, but we'll call them that, they're stronger than usual so that they can withstand the kind of heavy beetles and everything like that. So we have this ancient tree that's really very strong, and especially in the blossoms, and it has kind of like these contrasting qualities of beauty and strength. And that's your message this month, is how to kind of combine these sort of, sometimes we think they're separate, but you can really have both of them. So your nature totem is the magnolia today. And this ancient knowledge also kind of reminds you of how old your soul is and how strong all of us are. Sometimes we think, this is our first life. It's not. Most of us here have been around the block a few times. And this is reminding you to go back to that ancient store of knowledge that you have. And also, when you're looking not just at the past, but the future, looking at the longevity, the long-term goals, because I kind of put this down too fast, but I said, to me, the ancient energy of this also symbolizes longevity. And so you want to look at your longevity and not maybe focus too much on just a quick fix or what feels good in the here and the now. It's sort of like focusing more on, where am I really going? What is all of this about? I'll sometimes throw a curveball to people that will have a reading with me. And I know there's very specific questions, but I really care about the most important thing, like, what are you trying to do on the planet? What are you trying to do with your life? How does this job or this relationship factor into that? How do you feel like you're tracking with that? So these questions that I would ask them, I'm asking you to think about in your meditation. Where am I at? How am I tracking? What do I want to change so that I can, if this was my life review, that I was feeling good about it, I could talk to myself or my guides and say, yeah, I did it, or I was trying to do it. And if you're not, then this is a chance to kind of reset. As I mentioned with the blossoms, they're very, very strong, and there's a resilience there, both in the fact that this tree has been around for millions and millions of years, and also the fact that it can withstand a lot of things. So one other thing that I'd like to kind of talk about is the fact that you can attract. So the whole reason that the Magnolia blossom evolved the way it was to attract the beetles. So think of having sort of the energy of the lovers or the Two of Wands. What are you trying to pull into your life? And the High Priestess, what are you trying to manifest? Use the sweet quality, the lover's quality, to bring that in. Diplomacy, empathy, good listening skills, things that we're not seeing a lot of as of late, but this is something that you can set you apart by basically showing up in a way where it's sweeter and more engaging, because once you've done that, you're going to have a much easier time with any sort of issues that you might have where you're trying to negotiate, right? Or trying to get your point of view heard. When you have already set up that rapport and showed that you legitimately care and that it's a safe space and that you're open, then it's so much easier to try to get your point across or to move whatever the agenda is that you're trying to move forward. So sweeten or engage people, and then hold your own ground. Like I said, the cool thing with the Magnolia as your totem is that it is beautiful and strong. It is sweet and resilient. You don't have to give up one thing for the other, and you don't have to compromise yourself. So find this nice balance. It's almost like, well, I was thinking about this, but I'm going to save it for another sign. But it's kind of like the seahorse. There's different types of interesting things in nature where they combine both elements of divine masculine and feminine. So for you, I want you to think of King of Cups energy. Be strong, be sweet, or Queen of Cups, it doesn't matter. But it's kind of like that, or, if you were to think of this in cards, it would be the King of Hearts, right? So it's really using your heart center to connect with the world and to pull them in as well. So much easier than just talking too much or being too practical. We really need the heart right here and right now. So the Magnolia tree was kind of bringing all of those elements forward for you. Last thing we have to talk about, the smell can be a little strong, right? If you've ever had one of those blossoms, if you put it in a cup in the room, the whole place is going to smell. Same thing with a gardenia. They get really, really strong. So a little bit goes a long way. And I think that balance across all sectors of your life is going to be really important this month, but particularly with respect to your work and your personal life. We're seeing a lot of overlap with that right now, right? I think a lot of us are in a position right now where we're having to work from home, we're working with our partners sometimes at home, or even our roommates, and it's just too much. It's too much overlap. So I think anywhere that you could find a place to balance that, even if that is getting a little bit of personal space, or even kind of finding a space in the house where you can just call your own, that's going to be important as well. All right, let me take a quick drink and then we're going to talk about the next message that came through. But thank you to the Magnolia tree. Beautiful symbol and beautiful messages for you as well. In my dreams last night, I had a really interesting, very specific sort of message. I was focusing on the eyes, and it was almost as if I was going into the eye and adjusting the lens, I guess. So a specific message for some of you, I'm gonna fast forward here. If you're feeling a migraine or any sort of eye pain, I would go to the doctor. Take a look at that. Get some glasses. It's not the worst thing. So some of you might just be having something going on with the eyes, but the rest of you, it could actually be about how much time or energy you're focusing or investing on someone, and that could be clouding your vision. So it's symbolic. It could also be literal, just like all messages that come to intuitives. I think the thing here that's coming through is to focus intention. When we think of a card like the Magician, being able to pull from the divine, being able to pull from the practical resources, it's powerful, but it can sometimes be distracted, especially if that card comes in the reverse position. So let's imagine that what I'm seeing here with the eye could actually be sort of like the Magician reverse, which is my priorities aren't exactly where they need to be. Are you spreading yourself too thin? If you are, or if you're feeling sort of distracted, then I think it's really time for you to take a break, hit reset, and pick one thing that you really feel like you could check off that list and think it's kind of like creating your top 2 or 3 priorities. And sometimes we have to do like triage, figuring out the most important thing first, let the other things go until tomorrow. That's sometimes better than trying to be in 3 or 4 places at once. I put this at the end, but it naturally fits in with this, so I'm going to rearrange because I can do that with cards. I think that's really what's important here, is to know how and when to say no and to set those boundaries, so that you don't find yourself in a situation where it's just you're promising too much. Sometimes when we see like the 7 of Swords, it's not that someone else is lying, it's that we're kidding ourselves, right? Like we think that we can do all of this. And sometimes the 7 of Swords energy comes from a desire to want to make everyone happy, but the truth is, you can't. So practice good self-care, hold other people accountable that might be suffering from that as well, trying to do too much, and just kind of get a reality check in there and say no, or ask for help, or push the deadline back a little bit. I think if you do this, you're going to feel a lot better. And I said deadline, but it can also be for those of you that are retired or not working. It's really just about making commitments that will stick. And one of the ways that you can attract like a better job in the future, a better relationship, or just better things in general, is to sort of become a person of your word. So if you say you're going to do it, do it. If you don't think you can, say that. And if you have questions, speak up. So accountability, transparency, curiosity, questioning, all of those things, one by one will take all of those 7 of Swords away. So that's my advice with that. The next thing that it's kind of fun, and I think it's really important too, is to daydream. Now, there are a couple of cards that I would associate with daydreaming, like 7 of Cups, looking up, seeing what's possible, but also 2 of Wands. And the cool thing with 2 of Wands, that's like taking one of those cups, incorporating it, and then projecting it out into the world that the 2 of Wands would hold. And the 2 of Wands is super important to manifestation. So make time to daydream and imagine. Imagining what's possible. Even thinking about what's impossible and asking yourself, if it's impossible, how can I make it possible? Like, don't be tethered. Don't be too practical. That was a line that I put in my book. Not everything can be understood. So sometimes there's a little bit of magic in the world, and go after something if you think you can. Dream it, then do it, and set some tangible ways to make that happen. One of the things that's going to be important is to decide and declare your intention to the universe. So it can't show up for you if it doesn't know what you want. You have to, this is true whether you're trying to find a lover, whether you're trying to find a job, a puppy, whether you're trying to find a new house. You really need to know, what am I looking for? And if you know that, then you're going to start to call that in. If you don't, then it's very much random. It's like a pinball, or I sometimes use the kind of idea of just pulling a lever in Las Vegas and hoping for the best. You don't know what you're going to get. It might just be a bunch of bankrupts. So set your intention so that it's going to be much clearer, and you'll be like the magnet pulling it in. And the last thing here is to go out on a limb. If you don't try something new, you might not know if you like it. Just like food. I had to get something at the grocery store the other day, and I thought, I don't know if I like this flavor or this brand or whatever. And it was amazing. And I was so glad I tried something new. And so, yeah, just give it a try. It's a small investment. It's easier when it's like a bottle of jam or something, or, a new type of, pasta or sauce or something, but in life, you still have to take the bigger risks too. If you're not taking those leaps of faith, then you're missing out on something. So dream it, do it, try it. I would say all of those things are really, really important to you. Overall, some really good messages. The resilience of the magnolia tree was very strong, and it dominated my meditation this morning. I could smell it, I could see it, and I felt this sense of calm and safety because it had been around for a long, long time. So I feel like you've got a lot of longevity and a lot of good opportunities. So let's dig into the cards now and see what additional messages are coming through for you. I'm going to stack all of these up. If you missed anything, don't worry. At the midpoint, I'll pull every card up and let you see it one by one as I do the review. So stick around. And as I focus here on the Celtic Cross in just a second, I'm going to remain quiet just so that I can look at the cards, get some additional information. But afterwards, we'll talk about everything that we're seeing. Okay. So welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Glad you showed up today. And let's get started. Also, welcome to the new member that joined. Thank you. There's that Two of Wands. We also get the Seven of Swords coming through. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to get everything set up here. You definitely have a lot of shifts and changes in your energy this month. I really like where it ends up when I'm looking at the right-hand side. There's some stuff that we need to work through here at the center. I'm going to help you with that. Okay, so let's begin with your catalyst. For me, I read this extra card. Actually, I have a few extras, but the first extra card is a connective thread that's going to help you stay on the right path, help you avoid any pitfalls, and really stay in the higher energy. So as we look at this one, there is for some of you sort of a mourning, grieving, or releasing process that's happening. But we see this beautiful rainbow of energy that's happening after that. And a lot of times we just need to be able to, you can't sugarcoat everything, and sometimes you have to feel your way through something and really understand, why did it trigger me? What did I learn from this? And how could it be a blessing? That doesn't make up for the fact that there might be some hiccups, some loss, some challenges with it. But when you start to contextualize what's going on, then you start to empower yourself again, and you're not feeling like things are happening to you, they're happening for you. That's what this card is reminding us here. If we look closely, we see a person that's kind of pulling inward, almost like, I get Five of Cups when I look at this, perspective. Sometimes we get stuck in the heavier stuff, and then sometimes we can take a look at what's possible from it too, getting into that rainbow energy that we see here now, literally in the Two of Wands. So I would love for you to pull more into this rainbow than sort of kind of being stuck in the heavier energy, but we have to process. So process, contextualize, and then start to project what else you can do with it. The other thing is, for some of you, there is a sort of imprint of another energy that's present here. So we see this person and this face here. So for some of you, you are cleansing, releasing, or letting go of an old version of yourself, an ex perhaps in your life that you're just ready to finally like hit the reset. And then also this can just symbolize all of the sort of craziness that we've all been through over the last 12 to 15 months as we've been shifting through the planetary changes too. So it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be uncertain. But I see some good stuff here, particularly your outcome card, which was the 6 of Wands. We've got the butterfly showing growth and transformation. So this is a good journey, but we've got to look through the stuff at the center first. So let's do it. Center card, love it. This is showing that you have the strength, just like the Magnolia tree, to get through anything. Notice how this strength card is not being dominated by anything or anyone. It's just, you know, the lion at the center. There's no person, woman or man, that's kind of opening up the mouth of this creature. So I would say for you, it's important to know that, and by the way, like sweet and strong, exactly what we were talking about there. Beauty, grace, strength. Really, this is a nice strength card because this is showing me that you can survive anything and that you've overcome perhaps that lesson of having to control someone or having someone try to control you. It's not worth it. Work on you, focus on you, and bring your blessings, bring your strength to the world and demonstrate, like walk that higher path as well. Great strength card. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say here except that you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. That's another thing with this. You don't have to prove yourself. There's no more codependencies or there's no more sort of struggles with power. Own your power, own your strength, and focus on being healthy this month as well. All right, the card is crossed by the 3 of Swords. This 3 of Swords is interesting. We're not looking so much at a heart with this one. We're looking at the entanglements that happen with people, with relationships, with situations going on in our lives. This can be a cord cutting. We could take these 3 swords and just kind of get rid of stuff in our life that we don't need anymore. That's really what this one is about. It's not so much about the heart space. The heart is feeling what all of this other stuff is bringing to you. So I want you to really look closely at the entanglements. One thing that this is the wild unknown that I'm using. One thing that it does well is that we see even like here in the 10 of Cups, you see like all of these cords, all of these connections between the cups. We want to strengthen it. This is in your ego, by the way. This is what it should be like. You should feel this sense of openness, of reciprocity. Feels like there's a little bit of cleaning to be done in the emotional part of your life. So if there's anybody from the past that you're still holding on to, if you're just giving yourself a hard time, or if you're feeling a sense of sadness or depression, all of these things are okay, but this is the time to take action on that. Talk to somebody. Move away from some of these toxic or distracting energies around you. And as I said earlier, really have good boundaries. And I think this will help you. But the center card tells me you can get through this. The crossing card tells me there's some stuff that you have to clean up, though, in order to be this beautiful king of the jungle here. All right, let's go into your deep past. Interesting that I had a little bit of a chat earlier about the 7 of Swords. I like that we see the fox here looking up at us saying, yeah, I know what I need to fix, or yeah, I know I probably shouldn't do this. I'm going to try to fool myself or try to get away with it, but it's not going to work. And this card is basically showing you that. The card is reversed, which is saying this is one of the habits that in 2021, if there's anything in your life where you or someone else is trying to get away with something or is kidding themselves, like I said earlier, let's become more accountable and let it go. If there's something in your finances, business, or general life that you need to fix, that you thought maybe you could get away with, don't do that. What I'm seeing here with that is really to try to make a clean start this month. So you need to pay some taxes. If you need to say, I'm sorry, if you need to let go of a habit that you don't want to have anymore, now's the time. That's all. We actually have a death card in the crowning position, which is good because that will break this cycle. So if you want to let go of something, now is the time. All right. So I like this. This particular 8 of Wands is a little bit different because we kind of see like this lightning bolt that's happening with it, right? So it feels like there's a lot going on, and I was talking about focus being really important for you. So I want you to focus on what matters. When you really put your energy into that one thing, it can actually light everything else up in your life. The other thing is, I feel like a lot of you have been doing the required work to kind of kindle the fire. I see the beginnings of what could be a fire, and this is the spark. So some good stuff is on the horizon for you. I read about 1 month ahead. The sort of beginning portion can be right here and right now. This is recent past, so it's telling me you have the potential energy to bring something forward. My question for you is, are you ready to do the necessary work? A question I've been asking signs a lot lately. If you have the sort of follow through and follow up that you need, I think that some great things could happen. But now let's get real with the death card in the crowning position. Death, although sometimes scary, is really just, can symbolize a few things. It can symbolize a dead end. It can symbolize a lack of action. It can symbolize an end and a beginning. So I feel like for some of you, you need to assess what you need to kind of close out, kind of like accounting again, but it can be symbolic. Is there someone, something, or some thought that needs to be filed, finished, and released so that you can open the door? I see death as a portal, and the door works both ways. And again, when one closes and something else is opening up, you're never stuck. And this is just a movement period for you. So don't be afraid of the necessary changes that want to come through this month. Some of you may have to say goodbye to something or someone, and that could be difficult as well. And this could symbolize that. If there is a health problem, this is a wake-up call. So if it's you or someone else, really try to use that wake-up call again to get to a better place. And that's really what the whole spread is bringing you towards, because we have this transformation card here at the end, a different kind with the Six of Wands. Okay, devil reversed. If I'm going to get the devil, I'd rather see it like this, because it's really showing you that you're understanding that you need to release it. It's in the near future. So I see one potential issue coming up for you over the course of the next maybe 6 weeks or so. Let's talk about the devil as symbolized in tarot and how you can avoid how you can embrace the positive aspects of it and avoid the negative. So really all it is about something that it could either be too good to be true. It could be something where either a person in your life or maybe even someone that you're working for, they can't give you what you want. There's a limit. You are constrained. So take a look in your life and think, like, where is my constraint? As I'm glancing at all of these, it could be in a relationship. There could be someone who just can't give you the commitment that you want. They may not be available because the devil is usually an attached person, and things like that. So that's something to think about with that. The other piece of this could just be getting real with yourself and saying, I'm tired of holding other people up. I'm tired of making people look good around me. I want accountability. So I'm going to clean house in that respect too. So whenever we get something like Seven of Swords or Devil, it's showing us what we need to do, which is, in this case, be honest, be accountable. In this case, again, don't make a promise that you can't keep. Both of these are in the same energy, because this is no one wants to sign a contract with this guy. So, so be very discerning on what you say you will do, and be very careful with whom you decide to partner up with. So as you start to meet new people over the course of the next month or two, it's really important to get to know them. Take your time. Kind of, if we look at the Nine of Pentacles, there's the snail that goes across the bottom. Wealth and independence and success is something that you earn through time, through hard work, perseverance. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't jump into something too fast. And I think that's the main message with this. And don't overlook something that has kind of been in the corners of your mind for a while. So I feel like one of these things will fit for you. Otherwise, when we see death and the devil, that's also a good combination that's ending a negative cycle. All right. So just use this time to make a nice clean slate and to clean every aspect of your life up so that you can grow tall and strong and prosper in the year ahead. All right. It gets a lot easier as we move into everything else, but I like it actually. I'm maybe in the minority. I like it when we see some difficult cards because it shows opportunities for growth. You should never be afraid of seeing those symbols. It's actually helpful. So there you go. We have the 10 of Cups here in your ego. Really great card. This is the sweet smell of the Magnolia tree. This is the attractive energy. So you have the ability right now to bring people together. Notice how this is not so much about one person or a family or love. It's actually about the connection of community, of attracting new types of people into your life. So use this magnetic energy to lift up, to bring better things into your life and into others. Yes, love is possible this month with this card as well. For those of you in love, a deepening of love. But the deepening comes through working through a challenge, right? Dealing with something maybe from the past, forgiving someone for something. And then all of this could just be a family member, by the way. So for those of you that are not in love, the devil and the death card could be sort of dealing with something that maybe you didn't have a chance to deal with even while the person was alive. Healing doesn't stop when the physical body ceases to exist. The soul is eternal. Our connection to all the souls that we know in our life now and have known, that connection can always be established and reestablished even through death. So this is an important time to make peace with the departed. So I did a video a few months back about like a prayer for the departed, but we can do that at any point. So think of someone in your life that you wish you could have said something to. Close your eyes, light a candle, connect with that soul and say, I didn't say this while you were alive. I want to say it now. And then let it go. Let the candle burn, let the prayer be heard, and then release that feeling of regret. It's never too late. Even after death, it's never too late to continue the healing. So there you go with that. All right, as we look in the environment, really wonderful, auspicious card here, Three of Pentacles. You could be on either side of the mountain with this Three of Pentacles. For some of you, you're starting that path towards a better tomorrow. Could be higher education, could be writing a book, could be working on something you really care about. You have to keep traveling, however, and working up that hill. I was talking in the Aries reading about hiking, right? So with hiking, you sometimes lose perspective until you get to one of the points where you can see what's happened, where you've been, and also see the world from a different point of view. So I think staying focused is really important, and finishing what you've started, as we said earlier. So if you're on the other side of the mountain, maybe you can help people who are just starting to climb. If you're climbing the mountain, don't give up. Keep your sights on what you're trying to do, and don't get intimidated by how far you have to go. I think in this case, sometimes it's better not to worry too much. Coming from the other side of the mountain of writing a book, which took a long time, had I known how challenging it would have been, I think my guides masked that from me. They just showed me that it would be good when it was done. They didn't show me all of the levels of challenge. So sometimes when you're going to school, when you're having a baby, when you're adopting, or whatever it is that you're going to do, when you're bringing in some sort of a new challenge, you don't really know. And it could be adopting a little puppy, by the way. Whenever you're doing something like that, you never know how much is going to be involved until you get in the middle of it. And then you get used to it. And then it's part of your everyday life. So I see growth. I see recognition coming. If you're not getting recognized for the skills that you have to offer, for the insights that you have, this is something to also pay attention to. Why are you investing? When I was looking at the eye, like what's out of focus, it feels like someone could be not helping. They could be hindering your growth and kind of like getting into your clouded vision there. So focus and try to find people that can see you, and vice versa. I love that we see this Two of Wands here. In the rainbow energy, we have a lot of kind of rainbow energy coming through. It was here after you kind of grieve and then get perspective. We see it here in the Ten of Cups. We see it in the Three of Pentacles. And now we see it with the manifestation card, the Two of Wands. So with this one, it's kind of cool. It reminds me of a lot of different things, actually. It could be like chopsticks. It can also be like a compass that you use to kind of create a circle. A lot of things here, or tuning forks. But the cool thing with the Two of Wands is that it is about focusing. So instead of having a person holding a globe and having the two wands, they're like, no, put the energy into one point. What we saw right here with this card as well. Because when you do that, it's kind of like creating the fire, right? Something beautiful will happen with that. So put the two together and you've got like the Ten of Wands. You have some great movement happening in your life at this point. So I like that. Okay. All right, so we have the Six of Wands, a very unusual Six of Wands. It's reversed, but with a butterfly, it really doesn't matter. I see transformation and growth. For some of you, you're not ready for that. You might sort of be in the chrysalis stage right now, the development stage. But the important thing is better days await you. And I want you to focus on rising above. Another interesting thing with the Six of Wands, the more I read tarot over the many years that I've been doing this, I don't always see that you need to worry so much about the people in this. It's never really about the people. And we see the people here as being kind of thorny, right? So sometimes the public, sometimes our family, sometimes community, sometimes peer pressure, it's just there to test us, because we may have a different compass rose pointing us in this direction, or a different North Star saying this is where I need to go, and everyone else is following something else. So if you feel like you are recalibrating and the group that you're with no longer is in that sort of same resonance, this is saying spread your wings, try something new. Like the very last thing that I was talking about, if you don't try it, you're never going to know. You're never going to know, you're never going to grow. There's your bumper sticker for the day, but it's true. You've got to try something new. And sometimes that involves flying away from the nest. So a little bit of that coming through. But ultimately, Six of Wands is a very auspicious card to end on. It's about development and, well, not just development, but recognition. Here's your development card. Here's your recognition card. And for many of you, you've already done the requisite work to have a good network around you. You've got some stuff to work through with the Death and the Devil card, but you've got a lot of positive stuff when I'm looking at your ego, your environment, the possibilities, and the outcome. So I would say let's focus on that, right? Okay, let's expand now and take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and get some additional insights into what is possible. And I want to mention that, possible. You are an active participant in your life. You are the author, you are the director, you're the one that's making this happen. So own that, right? Be the Two of Wands energy, own that. All right, this is your health card. Health can be your mind, body, or spirit. It can be emotional state as well, and that's kind of what this one is. It says, I realize that I am testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. And we have fear here. Fear is not in and of itself a bad thing. It's an instinct sometimes. Like we have that fear so that we can survive. So if you hear a loud sound, if you see someone chasing you, if you feel like you're in danger, it gives you the endorphin rush to make a change. So fear can be an informing energy. When you start to intellectualize it a bit, then you don't have to give in to fear. You can think to yourself, I'm afraid. Why am I afraid? Am I afraid of success? Am I afraid of rejection? Am I afraid of the unknown? All of these things could be giving me a sense of being uneasy. Or it's interesting that disease has like dis-ease. So sometimes our lack of ease or lack of comfort will manifest itself in the body. So I really would love for you to kind of look at what triggers you. What are you afraid of? I'll put it out there as a meditation sort of prompt for you. Think about what, or to release the fear. And is there something I need to educate myself on, or is there some action that I need to take in order to be healthier and happier? I think once you do that, you'll be okay. And fear is normal, but it doesn't have to rule your life. It's just something there to show you, hey, pay attention to this. In my book, I write about fear as a character. The way I conquered it in the book was to starve it. Basically, I'm not going to give you any more energy. Like I have better things to do than to be afraid. I'm going to be informed. I think information will kind of take away the ignorance. Then not having ignorance, then you're not going to be afraid because you know how to handle it. So that's one way that you can attack it. Looking at some other aspects of your, by the way, fear when it comes to health could just be fear of going to the doctor. You never know. It could be a good sort of experience. So being afraid of finding out what's going on in your body, never a great thing. I would say get over that, because once you have knowledge, then you can attack it in the right way and be empowered. Let's look at some health issues that are popping up. For sure, we've got more messages in the tarot spread than the expanded one. That was emotional. I got to talk about some other things. It's important this month to focus on physical well-being. So yoga is a great way to do this. It's low impact. As with anything, talk to your doctor before you change how you exercise and what you do. But strength training, building is going to be important this month. Using your body, you don't have to use any sort of like weights or anything. Just focus on getting stronger, being stronger. From a spiritual perspective, this is important because it's like the cable or the tube through which all the energy flows. The stronger your body, the more you can accept, the wider your channel is. If you are unhappy, please talk to somebody this month. There's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of reasons that we should all be going through that, and it's okay. But that's important too, because if you can't get past that, it's hard to kind of embrace some of these opportunities like the Three of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups. So, maybe advancement in work or school, maybe new love. So take care of yourself so that the new good stuff can come through. For those of you that have a history of heart problems, maybe it runs in the family, or maybe there's high blood pressure, take special care to be kind to your heart. So either symbolically or literally. Are you moving enough? Is there anything in your life that's at a dead end? Death can indicate stagnation as much as it can show death and rebirth. So wherever you're stuck, or if you're sitting or kind of not moving enough, this is really just saying, change it up a little bit. I just took all my Christmas trees away. I like them, but the season's over. You got to put new things out, put new plants out, put new decorations out, move it around, change up your environment. It will help you. And then really these are just about being real. So I feel like there's something going on in your life where you just know you need to make a change. Seven of Swords, death, and the devil. It's a necessary change that is being hampered with fear. And I think fear could be the devil here. So don't be afraid. Okay. Enough said with that. But the last thing that I'm seeing, by the way, is positive growth and movement once you understand what's going on. So just take your power back and you'll be okay. Wealth, career, personal growth. The next card is showing all of these things. And it's saying, reaching your destination, your light is shining brightly. So here we see like a castle in a bubble. And again, it kind of reminds me of the journey that you're taking here with, when I look at wealth, I get comments about, being retired. This is about your next big thing. So if you're retired, what else do you want to explore? What else do you want to do? How can you get out of the bubble of what you used to be and do something new? If you're employed, this could also be about wanting to escape that and try something different. Bubbles are okay, but they can also be confining. So for those of you that are ready to try something different, I'm encouraging you to take a risk, take a leap, do some research. Obviously, educate yourself before doing that, but set the destination. It's like GPS. It will not work on your phone if you don't know where you are or you don't know where you're going. You need to have one of those two things at least. Usually, at least the destination, it can figure out where you're at, but you need to know where you're headed. So I think for you, I would say to reach your destination, you have to know where that destination is. And then you can do the work as you're starting to kind of like embark on that journey. So do you know where you're going to quote that song from the 70s? If you don't, figure it out. Take some time this month. Dream, explore, have fun. Some specific messages about work that aren't related to that particular oracle card. Do you feel stuck? Are you staying there because you have to, not because you want to? If either of those two things are true, these cards are reminding you to leave. For the rest of you, it feels like you might just finally be building and following your passion, but you have to break free from something. I see liberation at hand for many of you, or stepping up or breaking through. The devil could also be a glass ceiling. Fight for that recognition that you deserve. Whether you're male or female or non-binary, sometimes we are not allowed to get ahead because of who we are, who we love, what gender we identify as. Push through that imaginary ceiling. And if you can't, then it's time to find a place where people love and support you for the skills that you have to offer, not these other things that don't matter. Okay, you should be loved, you should be respected wherever you are. Chosen family for those of you that are retired as well, because that's the connection, that's the community aspect of the wealth card. All right, let's look at love now. Kind of what I was just talking about, spread your wings, be fearless. We've got a couple of cards here showing movement. This one was reversed. So with love, it's saying don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. Don't be afraid. We're going to overcome fear today. If it's the first or last thing I do, we got to get rid of the fear energy, right? Okay. But I really love here that you are protected and you are guided by your higher self. Whether you want to call it angels, whether you want to call it your soul or whatever, there is a guiding influence that's coming through, and listen to it. The universe whispers, it doesn't yell on a megaphone. So it could whisper through a persistent thought that's bugging you since you got up in the morning. It could be whispering through things that your friends are kind of parroting or echoing, and you're hearing the same sort of message popping through. For those of you that maybe have children, or maybe if you think back to when you were a kid, when you start, or if you're just an English buff like me, whenever you learn a new word, have you ever noticed how it's everywhere? All of a sudden you hear it in a lyric, you see it on TV, you hear it on the radio, you see it on a billboard. It's always been there, but your awareness is now open. So I want you to kind of like listen. And as you start to tune in, you're going to notice things you didn't see before. It's always been there. Your intuition's always been there. Your bravery has always been there. Really, it's just sort of, are you ready to embrace it? There's a lot of latent possibilities that I feel like are coming through for you. In the area of relationships, one last thing that I want to note as we look at the cards, we have some different messages as I kind of cross between. It's almost like your expanded forecast is much more emotional and spiritual. The cards are much more practical, so I'll bounce between the two. Please, 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 if you have a relationship and somebody's not being honest, I would say it's time to release them. If you need to come clean with somebody, release that as well, because we've had it come through a couple times, honesty and transparency. For some of you, there may just be a release happening in your life. You might be dealing with the loss of someone, a divorce, or a chosen sort of separation or severing of some part of your life. So whatever that death card indicates for you, know that, like I said, the grieving is okay, but there's so much also to look forward to. So try to find the balance between honoring and respecting what was, but also not missing something that's right there and ready for the taking. And there is a possibility for a deepening of love. I'm not necessarily seeing a new person. This could be a Capricorn for sure. But the fact that it's reversed could tell me that timing is off a little bit. And it feels like the focus right now is on work and development and maybe deepening existing relationships in your life. So don't get distracted by love either. We could also have like a Leo coming into your life. But you've got to work through that accountability or that honesty thing that seems to present itself this month. Finally, this is kind of what I was saying at the end of the channeled messages, but trusting in the unknown. So we have a Father Sky card here. We have the Eagle, which is a messenger. I was just talking about tuning into those messages. And this is really important for you this month to take time to meditate, to receive. Imagine that you are capable of receiving not just messages, but abundance. And say, I am now open and ready to receive love, messages, abundance, assistance. I'm ready. But I want it to be of the highest good, the highest light, not just distractions. And feels like if you open up your satellite, some stuff will start to come in that respect, okay? Yeah, the card kind of reminds me of like Zeus or something. But I like that we have Father Sky represented here as well. Okay, let's quickly review what we've talked about, and then we'll dig a little bit deeper into the soul path. I definitely want to go into the energy of transformation and anything that might be holding you back. So I want to look at the Death and the Devil card, and then I want to go into the unknown. So I'm not afraid to look at the darker cards so that we can pull the light out of them or pull the messages out of them, because there's always something to be learned. And the whole message today is not to be afraid, so we're not going to be afraid. All right, so the totem that came through for me as I was meditating was the beautiful, strong, fragrant magnolia tree. And this ancient organism has been around. It's one of the oldest plants on Earth, and it started to, for that reason, it symbolizes longevity. But what the interesting thing for me as I was researching it was that it had developed in a certain way, it had evolved in a certain way so that it could attract pollinators, those beetles. So first of all, look at the long-term goals and then focus on your attractive energy and I would say your resilient energy to adapt, because you can adapt to any changes. Death is just change. You could just write the word change on that too, or transformation or transform, and it would be just as accurate. So you're being asked to let go, to move, to change, and you can do it because of the totem that came through this month. And it's important to use your skills this month to try to use, I would say, not just kind of go straight in for something if you're trying to have a difficult conversation, especially if there's something about accountability. Use empathy, use your listening skills. Sweeten things up a little bit, because then you're going to be able to engage with the person or the people in front of you a lot easier. As I was saying, think of kind of like the King of Cups, sweet but strong. And we actually kind of got the Strength card, which showed all of that. The next message that came through was everything in moderation, because both Magnolia and Gardenia flowers, very, very strong. A little bit goes a long way. In the same respect, you want to make sure that you're not overdoing anything in your life. And this could be letting go of something like drinking or smoking or caffeine, or again, just a person in your life that is bringing a negative energy, trying to reduce those sorts of things. That's going to help you. Focus your intentions. Razor focus, I would even say, or laser focus rather, getting really, really clear about one thing. And we'll go into that in a second. The first thing I would say is, are you spreading yourself too thin? Have you done anything to kind of put yourself in that position by saying yes too much? What I said here, let's see if the card, there's a couple underneath, but know how and when to use no. I think that's going to be really important. And if you're feeling distracted, take a look at why you're sort of putting all of this energy into things. Taking a breather, taking a break, getting to the top of the mountain and figuring out, what have I learned? Where am I going? Do I want to finish this journey, etc.? Or do I want to take a right or left turn and try something new? If you are feeling any sort of pain in your eyes, because I literally was looking at kind of like a guide working in an eye, then it might be time to see an optometrist. All right. Otherwise, think about how much time and energy you're focusing on things in your life and really figure out if it's the right use of that. Listen to your heart. Sometimes you have to close your eyes and use your heart or your third eye instead. No, as I said, is a good tool. It's very important. We see it on the Six of Pentacles, where they just give a little bit. They don't give everything, the main character. All right, make time to daydream and imagine the possibilities, just like the John Lennon song. You have to imagine. If you can't dream of what tomorrow could be, then you don't have any hope for tomorrow. So you need to have hope. You need to have dreams. When you finish one, dream up another one. Dream it, then do it. And decide and declare that dream to the universe. That's your divine right. Say, I am ready for this. I want this. I'm going to show up and do it. And then follow through. Go out on a limb. If you don't try it, you're not going to be able to grow, and you may not find your new favorite thing. Looking at the cards themselves, a period of transition that could be difficult, but it is for the better. You're being sort of blanketed, or there's this sort of canvas of light and opportunity above you. You need to stand up and see it, though, and kind of step into the possibilities. So the sooner you can move through the release, the sooner the opening happens for you. You're strong and you're capable of getting through anything that comes your way. For many of you, there is something that needs to be healed with relationships. It feels like one relationship might need to move out. This could be the fear of losing someone. This could be the fear of what it's going to be like if you're on your own. This could be the fear of talking about something with someone. But the truth is, you're going to be okay because you know what you need to do. You know how to do it. So don't let sadness or fear hold you back. Be honest with yourself, be honest with others. There's a lot to focus on. I'd like you to get back into that, manage everything that's going on, and move through this fear of change, because it could just be a fear of the unknown or the fear of ambiguity. Father Sky was reminding you, trust in the unknown. Trust that you're being brought to something better. So don't be afraid. Look at all the lightning that's coming through here. A lot of potential energy, and for you, maybe some brainstorming that's happening with all of the lightning that I see, which I like. And rapid changes. Sometimes we had a lightning storm a couple weeks ago here in LA, and it was so surprising. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night. We don't get weather for a big part of the year, and then all of a sudden, like, there's this crazy storm. But lightning is cool in that way because it wakes you up and you can feel it. You can feel the energy around you. Change and release, going into things that feel more honest and unconditional when it comes to love and support, letting go of codependencies, and healing old family relationships or wounds for sure. Honoring what promises you're making to yourself, finishing up that process, really keeping your direction, and continuing to dream and to focus. That's so important. And then rising above, flying away from the nest, becoming your own sort of person, your own voice. That's really what we see happening over here. I think we've talked at great length that fear could hold you back from possibilities. Literally, it's right here in the environment. And here with possibilities, we actually have the Two of Wands. So keep dreaming, keep doing. Everything here is positive. This is stuff to work through. This is where you're headed. Let's get to the next leg of the journey. It's a lot more fun. For love, it's interesting, or I'm sorry, health, wealth. For wealth, it's about knowing where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, I don't know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, the universe can't help you either. And so part of your constraint could just be being stuck in something because it's convenient. So getting out of some sort of a convenient arrangement, whether it is a marriage or a job or some sort of habit that you're in, it's time to break through that. And maybe just invest in yourself. Three of Pentacles, going back to school, getting some training, or just finding a place where you're challenged and recognized. Recognition is definitely a part of that. Don't be afraid. I feel like it's all over here. Trust and releasing fear are primary messages here. But in the relationships, you might need to let go and move on. It's going to be okay. A lot of wings coming through, a lot of lightning. So it's time to create new things and trust that you can make it go, make a new start, kindle a new flame. And that's what we're seeing literally happening here is you taking your divine energy, putting it into something else. All right. Great messages overall. I like what I see. Just a few things that you have to be honest with yourself and others with in order to move forward. All right, let's go deeper. We're going to look at the tough cards. I'm going to start with death, and then we'll look at the devil. So with death, show me release, transformation, movement. What's going on with that? In my book, I also call death transformation because I think it's a better name for death. And it's a shapeshifter because it can transform, right? So I feel like the energy of death shouldn't be feared. In one of there's a graphic novel by Neil Gaiman, Sandman, and he has death kind of as like this goth girl, which is a fun view of it as well. Think of it as something different, demystify it a little bit. Same thing with the devil. Don't be afraid of the symbols. Ask the symbols what they're trying to tell you. Then the fear goes away. So that's what we're doing with death. What do you want to tell us? All right, so we have the Five of Swords. It's so interesting for me. I mention it a lot, but for me, the 5 and the 7, they're like sister cards. They always show up together as twins almost. So 5 of Swords. Are you fighting a fight that's worth fighting? Are you just fighting? When it comes to some of these things where people aren't ready or willing to make the changes necessary, I think it's important for you to kind of look at, is that worth it? Is that a dead end? Is that what the death is about? Now, the cool thing on this is we see little earthworms, right? So to me, the worms or the grubs, doesn't matter. That shows me being able to make something more fertile, to move through something. It actually makes sense that we would see earthworms in the death card. For those of you that are gardeners, like myself, I have more of a patio here now, but like when I was a kid, I used to help with gardening. It was a good sign to see earthworms. You knew the soil was rich. So what I want you to look at is whatever you feel like you've been through or lost, I see like a rich foundation from which you can build something even better. So you haven't lost, you've gained perspective. That's what death is telling you. That's what it's telling me right now as I'm kind of tuning into it. So look at your perspective. What will you do differently? Not even looking at what would you have done differently? What will you do differently moving forward to ensure that you are happier, more successful, less stuck, more recognized, in less codependent relationships all around? Make some goals, make some changes, make them now. And if somebody is just difficult, we've all had this, boss, friend, mother, father, whatever. If they're just difficult, stop engaging in that. Stop engaging in that energy because it's not worth your time. Put it somewhere else. And if we look at where, it's training, development, growth. Redirect your energy into something that matters. And I think that's really all the death card is talking about there. Letting go and using your time, your energy, the rich soil that is sort of your knowledge, and allowing something new to grow from that, right? All right, the next question here that I want to look at is the devil here. And I want to say, what is holding us back this month? Particularly, what's holding Taurus back? What can we do to break free from that? Okay, so we have the 4 of Pentacles. It's reversed, but it's still a really good foundational card, especially the way this one's illustrated. So if you look at it even in like the Thoth deck, or I have like a Sun and Moon deck, the Sun and Moon deck kind of shows it as like these little sand castles that are being built, and someone's in the process of building the 4th one. So for some of us, it's rebuilding, and I think this is a rebuilding time. And for some of you, it could just be finances right now. That's the devil. It's difficult because, let's face it, across the world, economies have been altered because of the pandemic. So some of us are working less than we used to, or for less than we used to, or doing something that we don't want to be doing. So the message here is it doesn't have to be forever. Do what you need to do to provide for yourself, for your family. Focus, however, on the long-term goal, longevity. Remember the Magnolia messages, and set your sights for something better, and let that be the sort of lifeboat, the life raft that gets you to the higher ground. So you're not stuck. You're just doing what you need to be doing right now. But don't get sort of mired down in that energy and thinking, this is me, this is always me. Since I'm talking about Neil Gaiman, we'll talk about another book that he wrote, Stardust. There's a character, I think his name is Tristan in the book, where he's a shopkeep. And the star reminds him in that book, she said, no, you work there. You're not that. Just because you work there, that doesn't make you that. So a job is a job. Your soul, your energy is something much, much deeper, and it transcends the letters after your name because you went to a certain school, or your family name, or where you live, or what you look like. So get back into the bones of who you are and build on those and get stronger. That's why the strength card came at the center. And you will be building a better and stronger tomorrow. Okay, so get back into the foundation, keep building, don't stop building, and focus now on 2022 is going to be better than 2021. 2021 is a year of transition and healing, and we're seeing it now. It is not over. There is still movement. There is still change. We're here for each other, but there's still change. So keep moving and keeping your sort of sight on what's coming in the future. Now let's go for the wild card, all right? It's kind of interesting I was mentioning the bones, because that's kind of what's in the death card too. Focus on the foundation and the structure. Wild card. Okay, this is the chrysalis that we were talking about earlier. So interesting for this one. You can't see something until it happens. 5, 6, 7, 8. I got to look at my glasses. So this is the 8 of Swords. Normally with the 8 of Swords, you would have someone that's blindfolded, right? And they're surrounded by this. I prefer this. So in this one, we see like the monarch butterfly chrysalis that's kind of attached to the tree, or to the sword in this case. So you can't see the growth that's happening. What a beautiful message in this card. Best 8 of Swords ever, right? So it's already there. You just can't see it. You need to keep the faith. You need to keep moving. You need to keep developing. And it's exactly what we were talking about with the 4 of Pentacles. So change is underway. Both of these cards were reversed. So there's a sort of a lack of understanding or knowledge of changes beneath the surface. The same way I was talking about the universe that were, the universe that kind of whispers, the messages that whisper to you, the same thing is coming through for this. So listen to the whispers and go a little deeper, and don't underestimate your potential. Okay, you don't want to rush it. This butterfly can't come out until it's fully developed. So you've got a little bit more of developing to do before the next opening happens for you, before this becomes rebirth, because it's both cards. Okay. And if you ever take a look at the Judgment card in most decks, you'll see Gabriel or an angel kind of blowing that trumpet, and you'll see people rising from the dead. So it's a rebirth. So Judgment's also important, and that's where I was talking about declaring it. So once you've decided and accepted and moved forward towards that path, bang, things start to happen. All right. Let's do a meditation for healing. I hope you all stick around. But before I do this, a couple of quick notes. If you haven't already hit like and subscribe, I'd love for you to do that. It's a little thing. It helps me a lot. It basically helps with the other people discovering this content. You can also follow me on social media, and I'll give you some information later on how to do that. But in case anybody doesn't stick around, let me just show this really quickly. My handle is @Ashbaugh, and normally I post a pinned comment. I'm going to do that right now. So for any of you that want to learn more about me, you can do it through this link, which if I can pin it, I will pin it. So there you go. All right, so let's get into the meditation now. I want to work on helping us heal ourselves and heal the world. We're going to send a little healing hug towards this planet because yesterday was a rough day, and it's been a rough year. So let's set 2021 into a higher frequency. But for you, I also want to work through this first. So we're going to help you become the butterfly, and then we're going to send some positive energy to the world. Stick around, because I might pull another card after that to see if there's any final messages. And I'll also give you some other ways of staying in touch. While I'm getting the singing bowl set up, quick programming note, I'm going to be live on the 31st for a collective reading. I'm going to be focusing on love. Not a lot came through for love this month. So if you want to know a little bit more about like healing relationships, that'll be part of that particular. It's the heart chakra, but it's also about love, because that's what the heart connects us to. And I'm going to start doing collectives more frequently. I may do at least one a month. I might do a couple depending on time and resources. So I hope you enjoy them. And they won't always be themed on that. It just seems like it's an important thing right now. Okay, so let's imagine that you are in the forest. Close your eyes, relax. Take a deep breath with me first and foremost. As you do this, I just want you to sit up tall. Roll your shoulders front and back. Take an exhale. Let it go. Let go of anything that you've been holding on to, anything that just feels heavy. And imagine that you are walking into a forest. Beautiful colors in this forest too. Imagine that maybe it's just rain and you see this rainbow of light above you. Lush green energy. Maybe there's even a beautiful magnolia tree, since that was part of our channeled message. So you can walk over to that magnolia tree. You can just follow the scent of the blossoms. You see these beautiful white blossoms all around you. Magnolia trees also have really big leaves, so there's this nice secure place in the shade. Little ray of light is coming through as you're meditating. And as you connect with that light, I want you to close your eyes also in the meditation and just allow for your crown chakra to open up and receive. If there's any questions of like, what should I do next? What should I be focusing on? Allow your internal satellite to connect with that light and start to receive. You may not get the answer in this meditation, but saying, I'm ready, I'm open, and I want to understand, it's going to start to allow for those messages to come through, maybe in daydreams, maybe in your dreams, maybe as you start to write or journal. It will come. Trust that it will come. So open yourself up to the divine knowledge that's always there. And also, as you start to do this, imagine not only that you're opening up, but you can see the ray of light starting to get brighter. And it's creating this perfect cone of energy around you, a circle of light. And it's kind of like the Two of Wands card. It's going up into that point above you. So you are connected to your higher self and to the sun as well. And now you see this cone of light around you, which is protecting you. And as you start to meditate, you notice that one of the lower branches, you see a little butterfly attached to this magnolia tree. But it's not yet out of its not cocoon, but chrysalis. And so I want you to connect with the energy of this butterfly. It's going to emerge here over the next few moments, and it's going to teach you how to do the same in your life. So imagine that your third eye is connecting with the third eye of the butterfly, and you're going to learn how to change. You don't have to go through as big a change as the butterfly, but it's going to show you that it's going to be okay. And then at the end of me playing the singing bowl, we're going to go above this forest a little bit and send some energy, a blessing across the planet. So what is it you want to change in your life? Where do you feel stuck? What do you wish you could do, or what do you wish you could be? Think that, connect it to your spirit guide here, which is the butterfly, and allow it to show you. As you've been meditating, imagine that you have wrapped yourself in this beautiful light. Any color you'd like it to be. It could be all the colors in the rainbow. It could be the same color as the monarch's chrysalis that it's in. Whatever you want to imagine your aura to be. See it being wrapped around your body and maybe even changing colors a little bit as you are contemplating the changes that you want to make and that you're ready to make. And know that the butterfly has been guiding you through this as you've been doing it. And as you look over your shoulder, you see that it's starting to poke its way out. I want you to follow its lead. Step up away from the tree, stretch your arms out a little bit, take a deep breath, and feel your new skin, your new energy. And imagine that you could take flight, that you could lift up, that you could get above the situation, you could get above this forest, and see things from another point of view. What does the new you, the new situation look like? What are you noticing now, like I talked about earlier, where you notice a word and now it's everywhere? What have you noticed maybe in your life that you've overlooked, like a Four of Cups moment? Is there something that was always there, but you just had to turn and see it? Be open to those hidden blessings and let's expect them to start to show up. Now you're just aware. The butterfly awakened you. And as it starts to spread its wings and fly, I want you to do the same. And imagine that you could drift high above the forest, high above the beautiful smell of the magnolia tree, high above the ocean, high above the planet, until you can see Earth from outer space, maybe half the distance between the moon and the Earth. And from this distance, I want you to almost just imagine that there are all these beautiful souls that are present today. We have at least 235. So see all these points of light around the planet. We're going to create like a net of energy. We're going to jet it back into the planet, love and light. We'll use the energy from the sun, from the moon, from the earth. We'll create this beautiful sort of triangle, which we see here in the Three of Pentacles card. So connect the energies of the sun, the earth, and the moon, and also put a little bit of love from your higher self and from the divine. And let's just imagine that there is this beautiful web of light, and we're going to pulsate it into the heart of the planet. We'll take a few deep breaths together. We'll do 3. So on the first breath, just imagine that you can see your light starting to get brighter and brighter so that you don't tap out your energy. Call in the energy of the sun, the moon, and the earth and bring them together as you're doing this, almost like you're a magician or a priest, high priestess. But the earth is your sort of globe, and that's where we're going to bring it. So we're all above the earth, and we're trying to balance out the energy. And as you're breathing and as you're intending for positivity, let's kind of set these intentions. Where there has been unrest, let's allow for peace to be there. It's almost like the prayer of St. Francis. Where there's hopelessness, let's replace that with the sense of hope and reason. Where there's poverty or disease, let's bring a sense of healing. Let's allow for abundance to take root instead. And where there's anything that is of a lower or shadow energy, let's bring its opposite. Let's start to bring the light into it as well and allow for a joining of the two so that there's no more binary opposites. We're not one end or the other. We're all connected. It's all energy. As you start to play with all the colors in the light spectrum, because it's additive, you're going to bring the energy to a beautiful, bright, white ball of light, like the lightest possible sun that you could see out there, just this brilliant, bright energy. And imagine now that the earth is as bright as a sun. We've neutralized the energy. We've brought healing to this planet. And now all you need to do is to use your wings and glide back in to the planet, into your body, and know that you've done a little bit of healing for yourself and for the planet as well. Take one last deep breath. And imagine that if you haven't already done that, you are reconnecting with your human body, locking in the light body with the physical, but keeping those wings that you created, seeing that you have like these angelic wings, which many of you may, if you were angels from a previous lifetime and you're experiencing an earth lifetime. But now we all have it. We have the ability to fly. We have the ability to explore. We have the ability to change. Gently open your eyes if you haven't already. And let's pull a final card and see if there's anything we need to know before we wrap up. Well, we made some changes, didn't we? We have the Tower reversed, and I actually don't mind the Tower. The Tower is a necessary shift. When it's reversed, it means that we have a say in what's going on. We don't have to sort of like wait for change to happen. So my message to you is, yes, Apollo, we see you. If there's anything that you need to do, really reach up, make that change happen, and be an active participant in it. You should not be afraid of the tower. The tower is a necessary shift. So you have death, the devil, the tower. Time to walk through the portal, time to be honest with yourself, and time to rebuild. So I feel like you can do it. You definitely have some opportunities in front of you, but they're good opportunities. These are exciting times and exciting changes. So stay strong, stand tall, and thank you for showing up and helping out today as well, because you did help out. All right, let's talk a little bit about how you can stay in touch if you'd like to. By the way, thank you for everyone. We had a lot of people stay for the meditation. I appreciate that. I pinned the comment here. So this is my website. Almost everything that I'm going to talk about can be found on my website, nicholasashbaugh.com. So just click on that pinned comment. Even on replay, it should be available. And first and foremost, if you would like to connect with me on social media, you can do that through Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Goodreads, Patreon, also Twitter. I have a slightly different username, but first let's talk about this username. It's @NicholasAshbaugh on all major social media platforms. I will use the story feature anywhere that it's available, but namely on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to remind you of upcoming videos. I use the fleet option on Twitter as well. Different one. I have a slightly different Twitter handle. So it is Ashbaugh. So just in case you want to follow me there. I will also use that to kind of remind you of upcoming videos too. And then there's an easy link that you can click there. I want to say thanks to everybody that has used Super Chat today. I appreciate you. Same thing with those of you that use Applaud. There's now a way for me to see that. It puts a little comment whenever you use the Applaud button. So thanks. I didn't mention earlier that I don't answer questions, but I think you get the point here. Like, this is a general reading, but if you ever want to book an appointment, you can do that through my website as well. And I also have a PayPal there that you can look at. So just click on the pinned link and you can go to the patron page, and there's a PayPal option there as well. Finally, if you are a fan of sci-fi fantasy, you notice that I mentioned a couple, then you can check out my book. It is not nonfiction. This is fantasy and sci-fi. But if you are interested, the title of it is The Luminous Ones. And it's on a lot of international booksellers, not just Amazon. You can check out the link, and would love for you to experience it, because it's also great for light workers in general. Although it's fiction, there's a lot of stuff in there for people that just enjoy discovering a little bit more about metaphysics and themselves. So thank you so much, everybody, for showing up today. Beautiful, beautiful messages coming through. I feel like we got some great healing energy at the end as well. I think that's really important for times like now, where we're moving through changes. Sometimes they're scary changes, sometimes they're uncertain, but the important thing is to keep the focus on what your long-term goal is. And that was one of the takeaway messages that I want you to celebrate and remember again, that you have this ability to manifest. So good luck in doing all of that. And thank you again for your time and support. So I'll be back again tomorrow, same time. We'll be doing Gemini tomorrow. The schedule's on my website. And if you ever just need to hang out a little bit, come at the beginning, come at the end, stick around for the whole thing if you'd like to. The way that I read is that I probably will bring a message through for you as well. So particularly the beginnings and the ends, you're welcome there, and you'll get something out of that. So this is hopefully a safe community, and we need somewhere to hang out when the world is kind of crazy like it is right now. So stay strong, stay smart, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. And thanks again to my moderators for helping out. Bye, guys.